Yo.
Yo, yo, and yo. Peace, world.
Peace. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Substantial Sundays.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Good to see everybody again.
So much to talk about, son.
Yeah, this is going to be one of them shows.
Yeah. God damn it, Jay.
This going to be one of them shows.
Yeah, man. Let me adjust this music real quick. Oh, man. Hold on. But yeah, man, peace to everybody.
Peace.
Real quick, if you are watching for the first time, do us a favor. Make sure you say peace. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And the most important thing is to share the link as well. If you
Hey, Jaylen, what's up, boy?
Hey, what's up? What up, nephew? Yo, and also, if this is your first time watching and you haven't subscribed to the channel already, make sure you subscribe and go ahead and click that bell as well so you can be a part of the notification squad, all that good stuff. But we got a lot of the regulars up in here, a couple of new folks. Test Pilot, peace, what's going on?
Yeah.
NYC up in this joint. My Ava, how you doing? Pageant Queen.
Yeah.
Joshua McGee up in this joint. Hikaru Wright, peace, what's going on?
Ava, what's going on, dear?
Yeah, man. Who else we got up in this joint? Johnny, what up, what up? Mugen, peace, what's up? T. Lucas, ladies and gentlemen. Clap it up for T. Lucas, okay.
My Mr. My man.
So, for those who don't know, the brother T. Lucas, man, y'all should definitely click on his channel and follow him there. Oh, Cash, do me a favor. Hit that knob right there, the silver joint. Turn it to the middle a little bit. We get that background music a little louder. That should be good. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, man. But yeah, for those who don't know who T. Lucas is an artist that basically we've known for a very long time. Like I first met
freshman year for me.
Yeah. So Cash knew him first.
Crazy story.
Yeah, but we gonna say the story because hopefully we can get him up in here as a special guest.
Mom's the word. We'll talk about that when he's here. Yeah,
man. And like if you already are on Patreon, then you probably heard the track that we did together called Live from A3C. And so hopefully you guys can go ahead and become a patron if you haven't already, because we're getting closer and closer to getting our goal or whatever, but we need more of y'all to sign up. Again, $1 a day, $1 a month, that's all you got to do, and you become a patron, puts us a step closer to going ahead and getting our podcast going so we can go ahead and invest in some equipment and all that good stuff. So house, like, there's like a part of me is like, should we just go in? But I feel like we got to ease into that.
Yeah, let's get the
other stuff out of the way, and because the rest of the episode gonna be like,
because that rabbit hole gonna get deeper. Though.
Yeah, man.
I might lose some friends out there.
Right. Oh,
you might get a private message. You don't want that guy Cash with you no more. Where's Sherm at?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Oh my God! Yo, my Ava funny. She said I rap for the talent portion of my pageant, and the Caucasians loved it.
Awesome. Good job, my Ava.
My Ava, you are funny. But yeah, man. Yeah, congratulations. I saw pictures and video. I found your voice to be hilarious because that's definitely not the I'm just at school chilling voice. She definitely did some adjusting for the audience, you know what I mean, and the judges. But yeah, man. Thanks for reminding me, Stan. Got to join Patreon this week. Mugen, we appreciate it, man. Thanks in advance.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. What was that? Oh, before I forget, quick heads up. So what I'm holding right here, I have a lot of like throwback, hideout production, original pressing vinyls. These are all of like my first singles. Right? So this was the last single I put out on Hideout Productions, joint called Kim, which has the remix of If I Was Your Mic, produced by DJ Spinner, which the man who actually came up with the concept for If I Was Your Mic is sitting right next to me, the homie J Cash. You know what I mean? So we got that. This joint, Remembering Dave, have a few copies left of this. Home Sweet Home. Yes, this was the first solo single I ever put out on vinyl. Got some of these left. I think this might be the only one of this left. The original If I Was Your Mic single. And then we got Lyrical Terrorist right here with me and L Universe. L Universe is better known as the pop icon, the brother Verbal from M Flow. Yeah, so these are all extremely hard to come by. If you go to my Bandcamp, substantial.bandcamp.com/merch, you can go ahead and scoop those up. Because they are so hard to find, they are going for $25 each because I had to import them from Japan. Shout out to the homie Marcus D, who actually brought them through. But yeah, it's extremely expensive to order stuff from Japan if you didn't know. So that's why they are $25 each. But the shipping cost is the regular shipping cost. All right. And if you're a patron, you already got discount codes and all of that, so you can get it for cheaper. And if you're a person who's a super SUBporter through Bandcamp, you also get discounts. So go ahead.
That story, you and Marcus D on Twitter was hilarious, by the way.
Oh, what? Which one? Oh, yo, yes. Hey.
He trying to kill him.
Yo,
that was hilarious.
So yeah, earlier this week, man, me and the homie Marcus D were talking because we were taking care of some financial stuff and then also planning for the future. We're talking about a possible tour in the I want to say in the fall. Because I recently got booked for another con that's going to be in Detroit. Hopefully details will be coming soon. But yeah, so we're trying to set up a tour. So we're just chatting, man, and I'm dealing with like baby stuff in the background. You know, my daughter was on one, super hype, had to change a diaper and make lunch. It was crazy. Of course, I wash my hands. I ain't just go from diaper to making lunch. You know what I'm saying? Can't be, little fake chocolate chips that ain't really chocolate chips that have been all bad. But, and then Marcus D is like stomping out a roach in the background. It was just crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's a perfect segue. It seemed like an interlude for a song from an album. You know what I mean? Like, it was crazy. It was crazy. So it was entertaining. You know what I mean?
Just ordered bonnets from Japan. One was $30 and the other was $50 with $30 shipping.
Yeah, right. See? That guy, Frankie, you understand. Ooh. Hey, Tsunami, peace. What's going on? Hope them studio sessions been going well, sis. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. But yo, so again, let me hit y'all with the link because I forgot to do that. What's it? The link is substantial.bandcamp.com/merch. All right. For the classic vinyl. All right, so go ahead and jump on that while you can. I appreciate the support per usual. Yeah, so on that note, let's get in. We're gonna get the music and like stuff we've been watching stuff out the way, and then we just gonna jump into this Jay-Z stuff, man, because it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. But
we gonna ease into that. So music wise, Sherm ain't here. Sherm will be back September 1st. He took a couple, for those of you who don't know, Sherm took some time off or whatever, take care of some stuff with the family. But he should be back September 1st. So shout out to the homie Sherm The Barber. Of course, we miss him. But yeah, man. But
got a lot to talk about when you come back, Sherm.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what? One thing I wish he was here for. Nike just dropped the Coming to America joints. You seen those?
Oh.
So I feel a way. You know what I mean? I forget the basketball player. I always get mad when anybody does anything African themed and the first thing they do or whatever is not even. I'd be okay if it was dashiki, right? Like I get mad when most of the time when someone does something African themed, they go with leopard print, they go with animal prints. And I don't like that. You know what I mean? I like that. And so, yeah, you see what I'm saying? And and so I feel a way.
It just goes back into the stereotypes of what people outside of Africa think of Africans.
Right. Yeah. So yeah. And so they work directly with the basketball player. And I mean, if you've seen Coming to America, you know that part of the royalty in Coming to America, they rock, like they got these, they got the lion joints coming across them and stuff like that. But it's just, it just feel weak for me, like anytime like people just automatically go to the the animal, like pattern, like the little fur pattern joints or whatever, and then they call it African fabric. Because you'll occasionally catch someone slipping up and they'll put a tiger print in there. Like, tigers aren't even in Africa, cuz. Like, but like this joint, they got leopard print, and then it looks like a little lion type joint or something on the Nike swoosh. I mean, I ain't too mad at the overall look of the sneaker. I just feel like joint be super weak. But anyway,
it's ironic because the shoe is actually Giannis Antetokounmpo's. We call Greek freak, who's from Greece.
Yeah.
So why not theme a shoe based off of where he's from?
Right.
Like, to me, that would have made more sense.
I mean, but he said he has a personal, like, he has a connect. Like, he looked at Eddie Murphy's character in Coming to America and feel like he can relate to that whole. I mean, whatever. They tried. They tried. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Look, we'll eat forever. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. But I definitely wish Sherm was here because I know he the sneakerhead of us all, and I would have liked to get his feedback on it.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he'll have something to say when he comes back. His fam is from Nigeria. Yeah, that's right. So like, from Nigeria? Yeah, he's
that's right.
Nigerian by way of Greek by way of Nigeria. There you go.
Okay.
But anyway, so those came out. Yeah, Damian Lillard dropped the album. Oh, I gotta check that joint. I ain't heard it. Yeah, I know he be spitting. I shall find my queen in Queens. Yes. I can't wait for that movie, yo, by the way. You know what I mean?
The more we talk about it, the more I'm getting excited about saying it. Again, I'm going in reserved,
right. Yeah,
so I don't get my hopes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Too many times we go into a sequel expecting better than the first, and we disappoint.
Yeah. So, I mean, especially sequels dealing with classics. They got a lot to live up to.
20 years ago.
Right. And we're not. And our minds are way different. Our mind works way different now than it did. Like back when the original came out, you know what I mean? So it's like we were young seeing that movie, right? Versus like our siblings or like whoever else we went with. So I feel like we're a bit sharper in terms of like what we look for in our comedy and all of that. But then I feel like and on top of that, Eddie was at the height of his career, so it's like. It's a lot going in.
It's a lot of millennials who didn't even like the movie. And I felt like slapping somebody when I had this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't funny.
Right.
Kill yourself.
Right. Right.
Like, how you figure? Like, but whatever.
Right. Say it again with less space between us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
I'm still gonna be there to watch it though.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. We rooting for it. We'll see. Mugen, yes, this is Blanca from Street Fighter 2. Absolutely. That's what happened with Lost Taste 2, right? Hold on. Did I miss something, Josh? I feel like I might have missed something.
I think he's talking about how the anticipation of it came.
Yes. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Jay Wellington. Hey, Big Brother True, what up, man?
What's going on, Fernando?
I agree with the African print garbage, lazy and ignorant, as if the continents don't have, as if other, right. Ain't nobody making some bear print joints, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I mean, come on, it's just lazy, man. It really is. Fernando, peace. What's going on, brother? On my lunch break, but wanted to just say hi to everyone. Man, that's what's up, man. Thanks for popping in. Renegade Shinobi, what up, man?
Speaking of movies,
peace, Wendy.
How much do you know about the Brian Banks movie?
Oh, I heard about it. I haven't seen it yet, though. Yeah, I definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
You saw it?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I know the story.
Right.
Because of the story, I want to see it.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Will I get around to it? I don't know. But the reviews are not so friendly from the critics, but more friendly from the viewers.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's one of those movies that you got to kind of judge for yourself.
Yeah. But I mean, that's how I feel like that's the way it got to be with any time you walk in. Like, the critics, there's a lot to consider, right? Because, like, for example, I feel like a lot of the critics said that that Glass was a terrible movie, right? Yeah. But like I thought Glass was great. Like I thought it was an amazing movie.
Right.
And on top of that, you also got to recognize that like a lot of them walk in like with certain judgment based on like relationship, that they have with that director in their movies.
You can't go see Endgame and then go see Aquaman.
Yeah, right.
You're not going to like Aquaman.
Right.
Everything about Aquaman will be like, what is this?
Yeah, so you gotta, I just take it with a grain of salt, man, and just, judge for myself, Yeah, I definitely, that's on my list of joints to check out, too. Some stuff I did catch this week that I was telling Cash off camera, man. I highly recommend checking out Tiffany Haddish, her show on Netflix called They Ready? Yo, now, I don't know how you guys feel about Tiffany Haddish, right? Because I know some people feel a certain way about who she is. I don't really feel like she's kind of doing the most. So because some people feel like she be cooning sometimes. And I don't really feel like that. I think sometimes people just are who they are. You know what I mean? And I feel like I've seen her in certain situations show a lot of love and support and really do some beautiful things. And so
I'm gonna raise my hand.
Right. So I got a different view of some of the things. I mean, I get why people feel like that about her or whatever, but I ain't one of those, right? But all of that aside, even if you are one of those people that feel a way about Tiffany Haddish, yo, she a real one. Because this show is so dope. What she did was a bunch of her and other female comics that she came up with. And one of the comics is actually a drag queen. Another, most of the comics or whatever are straight women. And then there's another who's gay. I forget her name. I know her last name is Wayans. She's related to the Wayans family. And so they are, even though they're all women, they're very different women. You know what I mean? Even having the transgender, that comic, she, destroyed it. I highly recommend checking out They Ready because if you like good stand-up, these women are very funny. It's only one of them I really don't stand. The one sister from Compton, her stuff wasn't that great. She had a couple funny moments, but yeah, Kim Wayans, yes. Kim Wayans is funny, super, super funny, yo. She's so dope, but I highly recommend checking out the show, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Me and my wife, we literally sat up and watched. We started at almost 1 o'clock in the morning. We ran through all those episodes, yo. Okay. In one night because it was getting better and better. And the couple wasn't as funny as some of the other ones, but overall, those sisters, it was amazing. And the reason why I said she a real one is because of the fact that they all basically at one point in time had the conversation that, yo, if I blow up, you know what I mean, I'm gonna come back and get you.
Right.
And so to see to see her do this and create this opportunity for all of the different sisters she worked with, and and to watch what's been happening on their social media because we tracked some of them down because we was feeling their stuff that much, and so to watch them overnight go to tens of thousands of followers and what that's going to mean long term to their career, it's dope on so many levels. So shout out to Tiffany Haddish, man. But go ahead, I know you got your.
Well, I just want to say I'm not really a fan of her comedy. I'm a fan of her as a person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for that. I'll go back and check because I think that's an amazing thing she did with the people that she came up with and brought along. You know what I mean? That's dope. You know what I mean? And so for that, I'll support the person. I'll actually check it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's fine. I just think that personally, she plays the same character too often.
I got you.
You know what I mean? And for that, I'm not really a Tiffany Haddish comedy fan, but. I support her to do what she do. You know what I mean?
I would say for people who, because she definitely is a person, I think it's easy for her to get kind of stereotyped in certain roles.
Right.
But for those of you who feel like that way, I do have some other recommendations to check her out. And I'm not a fan of her stand-up. I have seen her stand-up.
Right.
I'm not a fan of her stand-up like that. It ain't the worst I've seen, but it wasn't enough where I'm glad I saw her in movies first before I saw her stand-up because then I wouldn't have been checking for her movies. But what I will say is, I saw her in Night School. I feel like she didn't. She wasn't her stereotypical self in Night School, which was dope to see. The movie overall was okay, but it was definitely her not doing the same thing. And her role in the show The Last OG, Like I feel like it ain't.
See that Tiffany Haddish I can get.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that one I can get.
I do want to see that new movie she in too. What's the joint? It's called The Kitchen. That joint, it's like a mob type drama joint that she's in. Yeah, and I think it's based off a graphic novel, like based off a comic joint.
Okay.
Yeah,
I saw Night School, and then also I want to see her kind of break away from Kevin Hart. You know what I mean? Like Kevin, it's starting to become just like seeing Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
You know, where you see The Rock and now starting to see Kevin Hart. Where you see Kevin Hart, you're starting to see Tiffany Haddish.
Right.
So in the next Hobbs and Shaw, it'll probably be The Rock, you know, with Kevin Hart and some form of Tiffany Haddish in there somewhere.
Right.
So it's kind of like, you know, I know that they do a lot of projects together, but in her working with Kevin, it just becomes tiring for me.
I got you. No, I can see that.
For me, you know what I mean?
I can see that.
Like do your own thing. Let us establish who you are. You know what I mean? And come from out of, you know, the whole Kevin Hart, you know, combo. You know, so that's just me. You know, but I'm still gonna check that project because you know I love comedy. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna check it out and see what these other sisters are talking about.
That's
Cash. Hey, Monica. What's going on?
What's going on? First time watching the live stream. That's what's up. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate y'all. Yeah, man, I definitely noticed there's a lot of folks who typically haven't tuned in tonight, man. We appreciate all the new folks joining us. Make sure that if this is your first time watching, you go ahead and smash that subscribe button and turn on them notifications so you can, so that way you can stay in tune. The Kitchen's not really worth wow, kind of a flop. Wow, okay. I'm still gonna probably check it out because I was interested. I'm one of those people, man. Like, you know, people tell me something's bad sometimes and I go see it.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
to watch movies with.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
you are.
Yeah, you know, it's cool.
You are. When Sherm get back, ask him about.
Oh my God! Hey, yeah.
Ask him about Avatar.
Hey, yeah, that was the funniest. Man, hey, yo, can I do my Sherm impression? This is Sherm. After we saw Avatar, and I was like, yo, that movie was amazing. It was crazy. I don't see how somebody could like it. Sherm was, man, she was all right, man. That shit wasn't nothing but Fern Gully, man. That shit was nothing but Fern Gully.
Yo, it was. You would have swore it was about to be a fight in the movie theater lounge.
Yeah, like, we were arguing hard.
It was a heated conversation.
The wild shit is, like, about a year later, I finally saw Fern Gully, and I was like, yeah, shit was kind of Fern Gully. Shit was kind of Fern Gully. Shit was kind of Fern Gully. So I can see. But like, yeah, me and Sherm has like, I mean, we've all had we old friends, so we had some fallouts over like trivial shit. You know what I'm saying? Like niggas think we beefing over real shit. Like, damn, y'all, like what's going on over there? Oh, these niggas arguing over Avatar. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. But yeah, he called that joint Fern Gully. That was really funny. Yeah, that was some classic shit. But yo, what else? Oh, other recommendation. I'm not sure if y'all watch Glow. On Netflix. Glow is really dope too. I've been watching since the first season. New season just came out. Definitely digging the joint. I saw one of y'all say that Chappelle got something new. I feel like I'm slacking as a human being to not know that Chappelle got something new, so I gotta look that up. And I just peeped that they got the new season of Mindhunters. You ever watch that joint?
Yeah, I did watch the first one.
Yeah, so new season of Mindhunters is up as well, so definitely gonna check that out. I feel like there was some other news that came out this week too about like in the rumorville with Marvel and all this stuff. And oh man, I can't remember. If they come back to me, I'll let y'all know. It says Substantial, you should watch the new Afro animated Cannon Busters. Yes. It's been all up and down my timeline. Where can I watch it? Cannon Busters is it's a like anime style joint, but it's like black folks. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Tsunami said Fern Gully was lit. Fern Gully was good. You know what I'm saying? If I saw Fern Gully first, though, I probably would have been shitting all over.
Jazz, he was.
Yeah. I was like, yo, this nigga really comparing Avatar to Fern Gully.
So okay, everybody. Right. Okay, so. Fern Gully came out so many years ago, and Avatar was one of the biggest hype movies in a long time. So everybody leaving the theater on a high note. It's like, yeah, you know, we talk Sherm hot as fish grease. We like, yo, what's going on? This dude. no, it's Fern Gully. It's
Right.
I was like, yo, it ain't even that serious. And we in the I lie to you now, we are in the movie theater lobby.
Yo,
loud. You probably ruined it for anybody else that's coming through the Washington.
All types of spoilers.
Right. You know, it was funny.
Somebody was probably walking in like, what's wrong with Fern?
Right.
I love Fern Gully. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
Then they saw the movie, was like, oh, this nigga.
But see, all three of us are stubborn as hell. Just so you know. So that's another thing. Once this podcast starts off, y'all gonna hear just how stubborn we all can be.
Right.
But so Sherm calls the next day, you know what I mean? Because he's still not finished.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. So he called me. And I'm like, yeah, all right, I get it. Okay. No, and so then I call Stan like, yo, he's still tripping over this damn movie, yo. Hilarious, man. Hilarious.
But yo, just to show how far like Sherm has come, right? Like, cause like, yo, we were talking, I think it was like Monday or Tuesday. And we were talking about like, oh man, who was it, yo? I think we were talking about like Earth Gang. I love Earth Gang, so does Sherm. That's under you, I got you. Okay. Yeah, and so we were talking about Earth Gang, and we were talking about the song Sacrifice from the Revenge of the Dreamers joint, 3. And basically, and I was telling him, I was like, Sacrifice is like my Sacrifices, pardon me, is like my favorite song from off of that album. And so, but the one thing I said, I was like, my man from Earth Gang, like, although I love these dudes, his verse in the beginning, his first verse is cool, but then that little shorter verse that he comes back in with like, when he runs that joint for like a smooth 8 bars nonstop, bro, like, I mean, after the first couple bars, it was like, I'm good.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, like, I'm good. Like, bro,
and Jalen's on here, he'll tell you, like, I didn't like that. I feel like
it's my least favorite part of that song, yo.
Like, that's one of the things I'm like, he should have cut that in half.
Yeah. I said that shit to Sherm.
But he should have cut it in half because it drags on way too long.
Way too long.
Yeah, and then we get into the rhymes. The rhymes is like, the rhymes is amazing.
Yeah, and it's a like, with the exception of that part, I feel like it's a flawless song. Yeah. Like, it's a flawless song. Yeah. And it's just that one little...
I love his cadence when he comes back, hugging the block all day.
Oh, that's
whoever that is.
That's J. Cole.
That's J. Cole?
Yeah, that's J. Cole doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But
anyway,
it's right.
Yeah. It's too long, Sherm. Sorry.
I love that. Yeah. That song is dope.
Yeah.
But the point, the reason why I brought that joint up was like when we started talking about it, Sherm was like, I really don't like what you're saying right now. But it's okay.
That's all he gave you.
That's all. He's like, I hear you, but I really don't like what you're saying right now. That's that is what.
That's growth.
Right.
That's growth.
Oh man, yeah, man. Early happy birthday, my.
Happy birthday, my. What are you? You a Leo or you a Pisces?
No, it's not Pisces. Virgo. Yeah.
Leo, Virgo, my. When is her birthday?
If her birthday's later this week, depending on how late in the week, that would make her a Virgo.
She got 4 more days, I think 3 or 4 more days to qualify as a Leo.
Hugging the block. Yeah, that's the problem. Joint.
Oh, so also I want to bring to everyone's attention, there's a 1619 project. This month is the 400-year anniversary of slavery. Yeah, so New York Times is pushing out, I don't know if it's a documentary or whatever it is right now, but just keep your ears and your eyes open for that. It's detailing the effects of slavery in this country since day one, August 1619. Right. So it's powerful, you know what I mean? And it's a great education tool, not just for black people, but for white people and people of all, people that's in this country, period, you know what I mean? You got to understand how we got here, what the foundation is, and how the principles and corporations are still kind of mimicking and marked after that. And on that note, do we get into the NFL?
Yes,
right now.
Do it, Cash. Do it.
All right. So,
son, talk about it, son.
The NFL. One of the best chess players.
Pause to say, damn it, Maeva.
In 3
months. 3 months.
I thought Earley
Right. All right, back to Jay-Z. You know what I'm saying? A shout out to Mr. Shear as well, because my man Shear, he went to the African American Museum here in DC this week.
Oh yeah, that's a dope experience. Everybody try to get into that.
Everybody should. Yeah, it's man.
You can't do it all in one day though. That's
it's multiple. It's a multiple trip type of thing,
and I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I ain't no half-ass. You know, here's slavery. Okay, here's success. It's a great timeline and it's the struggle man, for a long time. But 3 months, that's funny.
Yeah, seriously.
So the NFL plays chess better than anybody. They've been catching flack for 3 years now, based off of blackballing Colin Kaepernick out of the league. It should be well known that Colin Kaepernick, he did a peaceful protest to bring awareness to police brutality on the plight of inner city issues and all things on a social level. Took a knee not too long afterwards. He was also a free agent. He chose to go into free agency, and at the point where he turned down an offer that basically was lowballing him, he became a free agent. Upon that free agency, nobody decided to pick him up. Now, we had teams ever since then lose starting quarterbacks, lose backup quarterbacks, and they were literally finding anybody they could off the street before they would sign Colin Kaepernick. So the Billionaire Boys Club basically got together and said, we're going to exile this dude. Donald Trump got involved, tried to make the whole thing about, the flag and how, if you kneel when the flag is the flag is being presented, or you kneel during the national anthem, you're disrespecting the soldiers, which unfortunately is completely false. The flag represents more than just military. For anybody to make it about the military, it's a complete joke, and it shows that they're hiding behind other issues. But that's neither here nor there, and that's another discussion later on. So, fast forward 3 years. Colin Kaepernick's still out of the league. Some players, Eric Reed, Kenny Stills, are still protesting. There was an initiative done by Malcolm Jenkins, and I bring his name up now just so I can come back to it later. Initiative from Malcolm Jenkins that came up regarding social change, or social information, or the whole struggle, whatever. Then this year, and I say this year because Super Bowl was in February, 5 months ago. They asked Jay-Z to perform in the Super Bowl.
Right.
Jay-Z declines.
Right.
Jay-Z chastises Travis Scott. Later it's found out that the same offer that Jay-Z just signed with the NFL was offered to Jermaine Dupri. Jay-Z was vocal to Jermaine Dupri in turning the offer down. So then Jay-Z turns around and he signs the offer. So
I didn't even know that part.
And that's the part that came out. Like I personally, and when all this broke, I went on Twitter and I just quoted LL Cool J. You know what I mean? And LL Cool J said of Jay-Z, Jay-Z does a real good job promoting Jay-Z. Basically, the whole thing is all about him. You know what I mean? And that's what I have the biggest issue with right now. Have you addressed the Brooklyn Nets as well? Exactly. See, the Brooklyn Nets, a lot of people, he can get on stage and he can talk about, I'm an owner of the Nets. He is a 0.000, like he's 15th of a percent owner of the Nets.
Wow.
15th of 1% owner of the Nets. Which means Jay-Z has zero pull.
Right.
He was a face that brought a lot of people to it, and he played the marketing and publicity part behind it because he was getting a check from that. But Jay-Z had no power really with the Nets,
right?
Which he eventually sold because of his now Rock Nation venture. So now the NFL came to Jay-Z and they presented him, and this is what I said. I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman, right? They presented him with some money, and then all of a sudden Jay-Z's like, yeah, I think we're past the point of kneeling. And one of the quotes I had, the biggest quote I had an issue with is when he said, so what, we're going to not affect millions and millions of people just because one person doesn't have a job. And it's the same dude just 5 months ago turned down the NFL, was on an interview with Van Johnson saying that Kaepernick was right for doing what he did the whole Saturday Night Live skit, you know what I mean, rocking a Colin Kaepernick jersey. Again, chastising Travis Scott for even performing on the show. You know what I mean? He was so pro Kaepernick and so anti NFL, but the second they presented him with a check, he had his hand out. You know what I mean? For that, I have a complete issue. But it's not exactly. If someone tells you they don't believe him, Go ahead. Right. I want you to speak on that because I still got more to actually talk about in regards to it.
So like that's it. One of the sayings that I say a lot. Well, first thing, Maeva, yes, I did go through support Vic's joint. I'm gonna try to get him on the show once his store opens as well. His shop opens. So anyway, like one of the quotes that I say to people all the time is, stop being mad at people for like being who you already knew they were. You know what I mean? So like when the news broke, like I just kind of like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, a lot of people up in arms and going in, and the reason why I'm not is just like, it's Jay. Like when Jay, like for instance, I got homies like, you know, and I ain't gonna pretend like I don't rock with like Jay's music and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But the one thing that has been consistent with Jay
is all about Jay.
He all about Jay. He all about his bread. And so like, look. You know, like I got homies who, when they hear these verses, he dropping like these like more socially conscious verses,
444,
right? Or that project and all these things, and people going ape shit over this stuff, right? And I'm just like, dog, he doing it at a time in his career where it's easy.
Thank you.
Right? I'm like, you see how much money this nigga's worth? He can talk about whatever the fuck he wants to now. But the reason why he didn't do that shit earlier in his career is because it wasn't profitable. Yep. So now he knows that.
I dumbed down my audience and doubled my dollars. They criticize me for it, but they still yell holler. Right. Skill, soul, truth be told, I'd probably be lyrically Talib Kweli. Truthfully, I want to rhyme like common sense.
But I sold 5 million.
I ain't been rhyming like common sense.
Yeah. And while niggas is quoting them like that's like, that shit was hot. I'm like, dog, do you really hear what he's saying?
He's basically telling you.
Are you really listening to what the dude is just like? Yeah, he's basically like, dog, I'm
a capitalist. I'm a capitalist.
Straight up.
Show me $1 and I'll go after that.
Yeah, and so, man, like, it's one of them things. So I feel like...
And Josh, you were right. Like, he also said that someone directly asked him, did you have a conversation with... did you speak to Kaepernick about it before you took his deal? He said, I had a conversation. And then it turned out that, he was lying about it the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, it's...
Yeah. And so, look. If you don't follow Sean King, I highly suggest that you do. He has a great podcast as well called The Breakdown that you can listen to on whatever platform you listen to it on. Shout out to the homie Deacon the Villain from Cunning Linguist, because Deacon is actually the music supervisor for Sean King's show, because they're actually childhood friends, like best friends. So anyway. I highly recommend that you check out Sean King's show, The Get Down, where he breaks it down. Because initially, like when my wife brought it up to me, I didn't even I saw a couple comments online, I saw Cash talking about it. I ain't even chime in. Yeah, because Jay is Jay. You know what I'm saying? Like Jay is Jay. I wasn't surprised. You know what I mean?
You know why I went in? Can I explain real quick why I went in? I went in because black people, especially, his fans especially, they fall for the okie doke each and every time. I label it to this. Like I talk about politics a lot. And one of the things, especially in today's climate, is we talk about Trumpers. That's people that follow Donald Trump. No matter what he says, no matter what he does, no matter who he offends, he's still got a core base that it doesn't matter. He is who he is, and he could, just like he said when he was running for president, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue and still not lose votes. That part is true. And you know why that part is true? It's because at the end of the day, people respect money and power over everything. Over everything. It's the reason why R. Kelly was allowed to get away with what he got away with. It's the reason why Luke Campbell can get head from a minor on stage and have people cheering him on. It's the reason why Jay-Z can be who Jay-Z is, and people still continue to make excuse after excuse after excuse for him. So to me, it's more of a moral thing than it is anything else. And like how people like, and I told this guy on Facebook, I said, you know, you wanna condemn people that you feel are on your level and beneath you. You want to point out their flaws and their errors. But when it comes to somebody who has just as much, who's been involved in just as much grimy things or whatever throughout his entire career, you want to give him a pass. Why? Because he has the money behind him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that part to me is what the core of all of this is. Jerry Epstein as well. These people who have money and they have power, they continuously get passes and people make excuses for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, we can talk about Jay's philanthropy work. We can talk about how, oh yeah, he did this. But I liken it to this. If I go and I shit my pants and everything, and then I go clean it up, do I get a cookie for that?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like these people are talking about his philanthropy work.
I will say no.
Thank you. They're talking about his philanthropy work as if Jay ain't sell $1 million worth of crack. You know what I mean? To build his empire. How many families were ruined in that process? Now, before I dig deeper into that, granted,
I want to add to that point.
Okay, go ahead.
So the other thing, right? Whenever people bring up the philanthropy of like people who are extremely successful, and like, yo, I just always gotta remind folks, like, yo, it's easy. Like, dog, it's easy when you got money to throw away. It's a tax write-off. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, dog, like,
and people don't understand the business behind that.
Look, as somebody who's literally been doing my own taxes for both myself, my business, along with my wife, I've been doing my own taxes for damn near 10 years. Let me tell you something, like, young, it's a tax write-off. They like, yo, if you do that or whatever, it's an easier way to make sure you get more money back from the government. So, like, young, so the more money you got to throw out there, it's like, one, it's a tax write-off. Number two, it's publicity.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And it's just like, yo, and the powers that be and the fans, they're all complicit in it all, yo.
I'm going to go a step further.
You get what you
man, don't get me wrong. Beyonce's a beautiful woman. Beyonce's a great entertainer. But I think Jay-Z's marriage to Beyonce was just as much a business move for him as it was anything. Look what he got out of that tenure. He got more relevance. He got extended tours because they did the On the Run tour twice. And then he appears on all her music. It's about Jay at the end of the day. Am I the first person to say this? Absolutely not.
What?
You look at the history of the people that have worked with him. You look at the people that have done business with him. You look at the people that have been shaded by him. From your Damon Dashes to your Beanie Siegels to your LL Cool J. LL is a prominent black businessman within Def Jam. But when Jay-Z had the opportunity to get a seated position with Def Jam, he started clashing with LL. And LL basically came out and said, yeah, you do a good job promoting yourself. Nobody else.
Right.
Who else from Jay-Z's group has blown up to the point where, okay, they're established artists outside of Jay-Z? I can't name one.
Right.
And even the one that you would think, your Beanie Siegels, your Freeways, they even had issues with Jay later. You know what I mean? So for me, and even the Brooklyn thing where he's taunting that he's an owner of it. Yeah, you're a 15th of 1% owner. Right. You are a 15th. You have no juice. But to the common person, they think you calling the shots.
Right.
So how
somebody on the block who don't know no better.
For people who don't know no better, and that's the part I battle with every day. I'm on Facebook talking to people who don't know no better, who don't know finance, who don't know contracts, who don't understand how the business side of it runs. So when they hear Jay-Z's working with the NFL, and then the next day, conveniently after the flag was bad about the original thing, the next day, oh, Jay-Z's got some ownership with an NFL team. Did they name an NFL team? No. Did they say how much of a percentage he was going to have? Absolutely not.
Right.
But you see, you throw that out there, and again, the people that respect money and the people that respect power are going to toe the line because they think, oh, well, yeah, that's a good move. Okay, he gonna do something for us. When?
Right.
Since when? Like, who is he? Come on, man.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man. And the thing about it too, to say that, oh yeah, we're past kneeling, or what did he sacrifice?
Right.
Is Jay-Z out of a job?
And the one quote that Sean King said, he was like, let me go ahead and correct the brother. He was like, no, you're past it.
Right.
You're past it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like,
because
yo,
he didn't have anything to lose.
You don't get to speak for a whole, like, yo, regardless to like whether black or not, or whether you're a black man from the quote unquote hood or not, you don't get to speak for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's always gonna be somebody that disagrees. So like, maybe when he said maybe he meant himself in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm like, look, I haven't watched the NFL game in about 4 years almost.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost 4 years. Like, I actually stopped watching before the whole kneeling stuff was going on, because I grew up watching Washington, right? And I felt the way about Washington's name for the longest. And when I realized these man was not going to budge, I'm like, yeah, I can't support y'all no more. So then that was when I was going through my phase, really rocking real hard for Baltimore, for the Ravens. Yeah. And then when that whole stuff, when they was covering up what my man did with his wife, when they tried to cover up that whole joint, and somebody who grew up in an abusive household, seeing similar stuff happening to my mom and my sisters, I'm like, yeah, there's no way in hell I can't rock with you dudes. Mm-hmm. So I stopped watching them, and those are my two teams. So I just stopped watching. Mm-hmm. Then the whole Kaepernick stuff started happening the following season. I'm like, hey, young, fuck all of this. I'm good, young. I'm so good. Never mind so many different issues of players like being abusive toward their wife or another female or whatever. That shit getting swept under the rug. Never mind all of the stuff dealing with drugs or the players or whatever with their experiences with concussions and all of that, how the league is carrying it. It's not something that I can really I just can't get no.
Not guaranteed.
Bro, it's just all bad, man. It's all bad, and don't even get me started with college ball, because that's a whole other episode.
A
whole other episode. But yeah, man.
So I think honestly, bro,
you know what? You might be right, Johnny. So but then again, they throwing bananas at players and shit. You know what I'm saying? So fuck them too. But anyway,
let's look at the flip side of this, okay? Because we talked about the Jay-Z side, okay? What is the NFL gaining by acquiring Jay-Z? They're getting that audience. They're getting the heat off of them for a second. They're getting that, we can't be racist. We're reaching out to one of the most prominent rappers in the league. I mean, not the league, in the world, to have us work with people of the city. And this is the real big slap in the face. This came on the anniversary of the first day that he took a knee. If you think the NFL does not play chess better than anybody else, you are absolutely mistaken. And I'm going to talk about Kanye in a minute, Jay Wellington, because that has a significance to it too. But if you think that they didn't drop this jewel on purpose on the day that it was commemorated that he took a knee for the first time, you are sadly mistaken.
Yeah, that was probably because
checkmate,
dude, like one of the most disrespectful things. And look, full disclosure, I'm gonna keep it 100 with y'all. When it initially came out, because one, I didn't realize it was the same date, right? Two, I didn't know all of the details and stuff like that. I just saw a quick little thing and didn't read into it or whatever, saying that Jay was going to be working with the league to basically to help with their initiative or whatever with...
First, it's about the music. That's what they really want.
Yeah, for sure.
Pick the halftime shows for us, Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Cut some dope soundtracks for us, Jay-Z, so we can play on Monday Night Football. We can, and then we'll talk about that social issue that you guys are having a little bit later.
Right.
You can't kid that much. I mean, you sold $1 million worth of drugs to these same people that put them in a situation that they're in. So you're our type of guy, Jay.
Yeah. And so look, so initially when I heard before I got all of the details and started digging in, you know what I mean, read a couple more articles and this, that, and the third. The initial thing I hear is that Jay is supposed to be working with them or whatever to work on this initiative to basically make them more socially aware, do more things in the community or whatever to kind of relieve some of these things. On the surface, I'm hearing that and I'm not excited. Right, but I am a person who's just like, young, let's see what actually happens, right? So try and get benefit of the doubt. But then when I found out that one, these Bama's ain't talked to Kaepernick the whole time, I'm just like, okay, strike one, right? And then I found out it's the anniversary of the whole Kaepernick stuff. Then I'm like, how disrespectful is that? And how can you say that you care about social justice issues, right? And I can't even take credit for this line because this is the point Sean King made, and I was like, God damn, that's a gem. And what he says is, he's like, how can you claim to care about social justice issues when the dude who was trying to bring attention to social justice you blackball him, and he still does not have a job with you or your organization. He was not involved in the conversation that you're currently having at all. Y'all talked about him but didn't talk with him. So how does it show that you care about those issues at all if you don't even bring in the person who initially got us to this point to begin with? And so,
and let me go on that because see, Malcolm Jenkins, who's actually in the league, who actually plays safety for the Philadelphia Eagles, he got torched when he put a $sign on the cause. So he worked with the NFL. They had a stipulation. Yes, we'll talk to you guys about social issues. We'll allocate some money towards social injustices. We got one condition: Kaepernick can't be a part of the process. He told the line. He said, "Okay, we won't include Kaepernick and everything, and we'll take your money." He got torched for that, for not being inclusive and not. But see, when Jay-Z do it and basically say the same thing.
Appreciate that.
When Jay-Z do it or whatever, now it's okay, we ready to give him a pass. Why? Because at the end of the day, we respect two things. It's no different. We respect power and we respect money. Right. That's it. You know what I mean? And because of that, we are constantly giving these guys a pass. You know what I mean? And that's the part, to me, that's the most frustrating part about it. And like, I'm a fair person. Like, everybody has a flaw. Nobody's free from doing anything wrong. You know what I mean? Right. At certain points, people going to do things and quite honestly, they fuck up. You know what I mean? If they do, okay. Just address it and keep it moving. But to act like he has no blood on it, I don't want to say blood on his hand because that's a little too serious, but the analogy I'm trying to get behind it is what I'm trying to say. If you act like you don't have any type of wrongdoing in this, then I find that morally wrong. And also, if you're there to sign with the NFL and you're there to talk about social injustice and you're there to talk about, doing the halftime shows and all this other third, why does Colin Kaepernick's name get brought up anyway? Because see, if he wasn't looking so hypocritical about the whole situation, Colin Kaepernick's name would have never even been brought up. But he spent most of that press release, and it's another thing about, you about to get me started. It's another thing about that press release.
Just getting started.
Just getting started. So the press release happened, and instead of talking about any details, they're talking about Colin Kaepernick. Right. You know what I mean? Because of the hypocrisy just 5 months ago, he was so fist up Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean? Then we find out today from Roland Martin. He posted something today.
Peace Cloud.
Showing Peace Cloud Kid. He posted today about how what's his name? Charlamagne the God.
Yeah.
He was a part of that meeting. Okay. So the sound bites that you hear from Charlamagne the God came out today and said they edited his questions and his responses to the sound bites. Wow. So the NFL is controlling what you hear, and why do they want to do Charlamagne the God? Because Charlamagne the God's audience is who?
Right. Wow.
Charlamagne the God's they don't want to lose a target of their audience. Yeah. So let's make sure that we clean that part up from whatever Charlamagne said. Let's clean that part up so to make it look a certain way.
Right.
They are the masters of playing chess.
So let me just say this, right? Because I'm an action person. So knowing what everybody knows right now, I already know for a fact a good amount of people are still going to be watching the games, right? I already know for a fact that even if folks don't watch the game, come playoff time, they probably going to go watch the game. Come Super Bowl time, you're going to get that invite to that party. You probably going to go, right? So, but I need you to understand that, like, a good amount of these players, right, because their livelihood depends on them playing. You can't rely on them to step up, right, and protest this, right, or any of the stuff that the league is doing. It basically comes down to the viewers, people like us, the same people they're trying to pander, though. They're pandering to you, right? By pulling in Charlamagne the God, by bringing in Jay-Z, all of this stuff. They're clearly trying to patronize you, right? So that lets you know right now that they need you.
Yeah.
They need your dollar. They need that viewership, right? So, turn the TV off, B. Just don't watch. You know what I mean? And it's just like sometimes sometimes there's so much action, right, that can be taken with you doing very little. You not watching, that frees up hours of your Sunday.
Okay, so
there's so many other things you could be doing, and that's an easy way to protest the league if you really got an issue with it. So,
these are also comments that I also have been going and talking about. What tends to happen is bait and switch. All right, this is what happens when you start discussing things. President Obama has nothing to do with this circumstance.
Right.
Absolutely nothing at all. Okay? It wasn't, let me protest because Trump is in office. Trump is the one who put himself into this social issue when he came on and spoke about it as if it's disrespecting the flag. That's the difference between, it's about Obama, it's about Trump. It's not about either one of them, to be honest with you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's the age of spin.
Right.
That's what the media is ready to do. Let's change the narrative. We make it about something that is not about. So that way, people like yourself can bring things that are irrelevant to the actual conversation that's being had.
He did nothing for black people.
And understand.
Okay.
Right. That has nothing to do with it. And you ain't steal my vote. I voted for him. Right. I voted for him. He still my vote.
Right.
So, and it's just like, I need you to understand that, when people try to make the whole kneeling thing about, him disrespecting the military, it's like, every time they would bring that up, they would leave out the important part, which was the whole reason why he started kneeling as opposed to sitting down to begin with, is because a veteran said this would be the more respectful thing to do. Yes. And he still got torched for doing it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then people completely ignored that part of the conversation. But, that's neither here nor there, man. I think...
See, and when you bring up the viewership, what I would have loved to see happen is for the players you ain't got to do it long. You make up 75% of the league. Don't play one game on a Sunday and see how the NFL turns around. You know how much money will be lost? I mean, don't get me wrong. Right. They would give up a game check. One game check, but ultimately that TV revenue that the NFL be missing out on, and the people, the higher ups behind all that, they're the ones that will be hurt more. So you got to understand your power too. You got to understand your power as players that you can sit for one game. They're gonna go and replace you for one game. I highly doubt it because the quality of the game would change without them being in the league. You know what I mean? So it's a deeper cycle, but to me, this was a huge chess move for them. This was to me, another slap in the face from Jay-Z. And honestly, it deserves all the backlash that he's getting online right now. My personal opinion. He deserves all that. Football players are brainwashed. And Jay Wellington, that's the part that I'm sad about. You know what I mean? Because they don't understand their power. The players' union is the weakest union you could ever come across. I don't think any other sport has a more weak union than an NFL players union.
I agree.
These guys are pretty much powerless. Yeah, we're going to sign you to a 4 or 5 year contract. We don't have to honor it as owners of the football team, as GMs of the football team, but you got to honor it as far as a player. And if we decide to cut you because we don't think you're performing the way we do, guess what? That money you were supposed to get from this year, you ain't getting. None of it, barely any of it is guaranteed unless you're Kirk Cousins, who finessed the hell out of the Minnesota Vikings for a fully guaranteed contract.
Yeah, and it's easy for them to take advantage of these players, man, because, you know, a good amount of them, not all, but a good amount of these people are basically, you know, coming from situations where, like, you know, like, number one, I look at football kind of like boxing, right? It's not a sport that you play when you got like a bunch of options financially.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And what I mean by that is, like, you know, the amount of abuse that you got to take physically, it's not something you go run toward unless, like, you feel like you don't have a whole lot of options in terms of ways to kind of lift yourself up and create other opportunities. That's not true of all players, right? But, like, I know that I stepped away from playing football while I was in high school mainly because of the beating my body was taking. But more importantly, it was easy for me to walk away from it because I knew I had options. I left that alone and then fully pursued my art. And when I broke my hand, matter of fact, when I broke my hand, I had to learn to draw with my left hand just so I wouldn't get put out of the art school I was at. And that's what made me give up football ultimately. But a lot of people don't have those type of options in that particular sport, whether it's football, basketball, whether we're talking about, the real football, right? Like the football that the world recognizes. I'm talking about soccer. Like, a lot of people dedicate their lives to these things because they're using it as an opportunity to lift themselves out of poverty. And when they do that, they oftentimes have other people relying on them as well. So a good amount of players aren't going to make that sacrifice because, one, they're scared to death to lose everything they just obtained. And then, two, they got other people looking at them as the bank, basically. They're relying on that money. And so it's unfortunate. And I think there's some players or whatever, there's still players who are making that sacrifice bare minimum by still kneeling and showing support in other ways.
I mean, but
you're not going to see most of the league do really just step back and not play. You know what I mean? They're not going to pull what the NBA did like some years ago.
Yeah,
they're not going to do that.
The NBA is about that action,
right?
They about that action, boss. And let's not act like Kaepernick kneeled and that was it. Because the brother's been putting his own money behind this initiative, Know Your Rights initiative, that directly affects people in the cities. You know what I mean? So let's not act like all he did was kneel and that's that. And the irony is, it's going to be the same people talking about or reverencing Colin Kaepernick years down the line like they did with Muhammad Ali. And granted, it's two different scenarios. But Muhammad Ali wasn't as beloved and reverenced the way he is now. Everybody can call Muhammad Ali the greatest of all time for his, not only what he did in the boxing ring and the way he drew gates and had people come see him fight, but also the way, his stance on Vietnam War and things like that. All these things came after the fact, because best believe during that time they hated Muhammad Ali the exact same way they hate Colin Kaepernick now. The exact same way. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's gonna depend on which side of it. Well, I'm hoping that more people will stand on the right side of history and then later on come back and say, oh yeah, I was all supportive of it. We know it's not gonna be that.
Right.
We know it's not gonna be that.
Yeah. Hey, champagne showers. You can go ahead and ignore my man then, like the one that keep bringing up the Obama stuff. Like, just to go ahead and address what he said. Like, and like, he keeps talking about how, like, let's go. I'm going to address it. This is going to be the last thing I'm going to address because I'm sure his next comment, because that's all he got to lean on, is keep bringing up Obama. Yeah. Where he says Obama failed. Newsflash, based on what you're saying, like, every president in the history ever of the United States have failed, right? Because, like, no one has, like, if you're going to keep relating it to, like, what they've done for black people, what president ever has really done anything to truly help our situation? No. And if you say Lincoln, you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Because you really don't know why he did what he did to begin with, because you ain't read enough. So, like, the reality of it is, right, they've all failed us, right? And the funny thing is, if you're a white person who lives in the United States or whatever, and I'm talking about, like, if you're white as in you're not wealthy, right? You're barely middle class. You're lower middle class to poor. If you're white and you feel like any of these presidents really represent you and are doing you a favor, you are also an idiot. And I usually don't like calling people just a straight up idiot for the sake of it. But young, don't ever get it twisted. This shit is never really about race. The only reason why people created race, the idea of race, is because of money. So don't, like, race is the distractor. It's always the distractor. It always comes back to money. So don't ever get it fucked up. That's what it's always really about. So I ain't up in here like, you know, Obama's the best thing ever, like he's the new Jesus. I ain't that dude. But that lets me know more about who you are coming up in here trying to start some shit, because that's what you're assuming I am because I'm black. Because that's all you got to work with. Yeah. But that's your own ignorance. Pretty much. If you're a person who probably, if you're not shit, man, like I'm telling you, if you're lower middle class to poor, right? And you think that any of these motherfuckers are for you, I feel sorry for you. I feel sorry for you because you got a bigger heart than I do. I know. Guys don't give a fuck. I do. And the reason, and that's the educator side of me. That's all that is. Yeah. That's the educator side of me. I hate seeing people get taken advantage of. Right? And don't get it twisted. I ain't this dude that's walking around blind thinking all these Democrats is for me. No. I ain't stupid. No. Like, I get it, young. We're dollar sign to everybody. Yeah. Right? Like, black people stay spending more money on other groups of people than we spend on ourselves. We stay giving our money away to people who don't care. So I already know what's up. So look, and my man ain't got, he look like he's looking for something right now because I ain't see he ain't commented and said shit in a minute. But look, man, I'm telling you straight up, right? Like I ain't this random ignorant dude off the street. I just left my job and my family doing fucking great. So I ain't piss poor just clinging to whatever politician talking shit trying to say whatever. It's like, dog, like in the last
absolutely cloud kick, absolutely.
In the last several, like, what shit, from the time I started voting to like the last election, most of the time I vote for independents. Most of the time I vote for independent, or even if they're not independent, the candidates that people very rarely know shit about, because I don't create an opinion about candidates based on some fucking little bullshit they said on TV, right? I research their voting records. There's a long list of websites that you all can check out or whatever, like sidewith.org and other ones that don't even allow you to vote based on candidates. What it allows you to vote on is how you feel about certain policies and where you stand on certain issues. And then what they do is they show you what percentage of the time you agree with certain candidates. And what I learned about myself is I'm far more socialist than I ever thought I was. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so 9 times out of 10, my shit don't even always align with the Democratic agenda, to be frank. So, you know, that's where it is. Oh, here you go. He's back in. See, he ain't addressing me now? What
that's a lie. He said our current president has brought more African Americans out of unemployment and welfare.
Shout out to the Trump supporter.
People died for the flag. You don't disrespect.
Brought more African Americans out of
unemployment. That is an absolute lie.
Wow.
That's an absolute lie. And see, this is how you know that you're dealing with somebody who's misinformed. You can follow all the sites, all the Fox news sites, all you want. Right. Obama was the one, his administration. Let me explain something to you, okay? Because if you think that one president is going to come, definitely. Yeah. If you think that one president is going to come in and in 3 years change everything the way that you assume he is without some type of initiatives from the former administration, you got to be out your mind. It was Obama who brought that unemployment rate down, and then it dropped even further. But that's based off the initiative from that administration. Right. Had nothing to do with.
I love when people think like just because something dropped the moment this guy got
exactly
in
like he did everything.
Like everything works the moment.
Exactly. But yet you don't want to give credit for Obama coming through when we were in a recession and turning it over to a surplus. See, now we don't want to talk about that. Right. We don't want to talk about how the economy was failing and we had a whole bunch of companies going under based off the Bush administration, and it took Obama to come in after 2 terms, 8 years to clean all that up and leave a surplus. Are we really going to get into this conversation right now?
So check this out. Hey, thanks for getting us excited. We gonna go ahead and disregard my man for the rest of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. We'll keep it moving. Yeah. So anyway, on that note, back to Jay-Z. We can wrap it on
show at some other time. Right. You know what I mean? But that's just don't time him out. Keep him there. Just ignore him.
Oh no, he can still look. He just don't time him out. Okay, he gonna sit in the corner. Okay, right. He gonna sit in the corner. It's all good. He got 300 seconds to go ahead and think about what it is. By then, we'll probably be wrapping up anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, y'all.
But see, I'm glad. What I'm gonna say is this: I'm glad. And you knew it was gonna be like this. The second I came in the door, you knew. Listen, when I came in the door, Stan said, "Peace." I shook my head with a smile. He said, "Yeah,
right. We already knew it was about to be one of them shows.
It's gonna be one of them shows."
Oh yeah, we already know Miles B. We waiting for a random stranger to come in and then make some random joint.
Absolutely, you know what I mean. But I'm again, he's a different dude than I am.
Right.
Okay, you gonna get more compassion out of this guy. You gonna get double middle fingers from me. Right. You know what I mean? But that's just who we are. It's the reason why we blend so well after all these years. But listen, taking it back to the Jay-Z thing. All right, taking it back. Let's bring it full circle again.
Right.
All right, this was nothing to me than a chess move by the NFL and everything, because they're very vague with what they're asking. All they needed was a face. Mm-hmm. They needed to step and fetch it and be in front of this so that it can divide the people, and that's what's basically happened. People are giving Jay-Z the benefit of the doubt. Well, let's see what he do. What you mean? Well, let's see what he do. He gonna do what he been doing for the last 20 years. Yeah, and that's looking out for Jay-Z's interests. Right. You know what I mean? And if he does anything that's remotely helpful, he don't. Again, I said it earlier. Why are you giving this dude a cookie for doing what he already, you know what I mean, for cleaning up the mess he already made. Right. Or being a part of the mess he already made. You don't get that type of credit for that. Unless two things. You respect money and you respect power. And it's really that simple.
Right. And I'll add, and I keep referencing Sean King because I feel like he had, let me pause the music. We'll pause the music because I'm saying we'll pause that. Hold on. Look, the reason why I keep referencing him is because I feel like he had one of the best responses to all of this. And one of the things he said, there are certain people, another thing he said, I should say, is that there are certain people who are only a few steps away from like God-like status. Yeah. Right? And he starts to run off some of those people. One of those people is Oprah, right? And Beyonce, Jay, or whatever. God. Like a lot of these people. And so... God. And so basically, so basically what he's saying is that when you kind of like obtain a certain level, a certain status or whatever, you can do whatever you can say, do pretty much whatever you want, and there are going to be people, your loyal fans, that just will always give you a pass. R. Kelly was one of those dudes for a very long time or whatever, and eventually fell off his high horse, right? And so it's just interesting to really, really see like the people kind of defending it, right? Yep. Because again, keeping it, thank you, Maeva, keeping it 100. I was definitely a person that when I didn't know all the details of it and I just saw it in passing, is like, yo, I hate to really just come out like for or against something without knowing a whole lot about it. It looked suspect to me when I first saw it, but my initial response is, because of the type of dude I am, it's like, yo, I'm about action first and foremost. Let's see what the man does, right? If he does what I believe Jay will ultimately do, right? Like if he does what's in line with what Jay has done most of his career, then yeah, you got every reason to be mad. But at the same time, you shouldn't be surprised, right? Now, if he does the opposite and does something great, then yo, all of us gotta eat our I'll gladly eat my words. You know what I'm saying? Y'all come back, I'll be the first one. Watch me take it full circle. When I finally saw Fern Gully, when I saw Fern Gully, I came back. The Sherm was like, "You right, right? Shit was just like Fern Gully, son." You know what I'm saying? So like, hey man, so I mean, at the end of the day, we will see how all of this stuff pans out. I got a feeling we know how it's gonna pan out. You know what I mean? With more money for Jay, probably not a whole lot of progress or whatever in areas where there needs to be progress. And Colin
Kaepernick's still out the league.
Right. But I hope I'm wrong. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And I'm going to read this real quick. It says, Michael Cox said that Jay-Z personally called Jermaine Dupri last year and told him not to take the same exact deal the NFL is now offering Jay-Z. And Jermaine turned it down and only worked with entertainment events during the final weeks following up to the Super Bowl. And now Jay-Z has taken that same deal. Let that sink in.
There it is.
Let that sink in. And if you don't think Jay-Z's an opportunist and not doing for Jay-Z, I don't know what rock you been sleeping underneath, man.
Right. So look, y'all.
We already knew it.
Right. On that note, you know what I mean? Like, we gonna get ready to go. We get that theme music back up. You know what I mean? Hey, man, it's been a fun show.
Yeah.
I want a couple things. Like, there are a couple of people who are watching right now, or a couple of names I've seen pop up who I haven't seen on the show. We had a lot of new folks. So I hope that you guys subscribe to the channel. I hope that y'all turn on the notifications and all of that so that way you can be a part of this every Sunday. Sidebar, man, I didn't mention it earlier, but I had a super great moment yesterday where I came up with this really brilliant idea that I'm so excited.
We hostages.
Yo, like, look, I'm so excited about this thing that I just came up with yesterday, man, talking with my wife. And I really want to tell y'all all about it, but I'm not, because I'm a man of action. So I'm going to put a lot of stuff into action, and I got this deadline for October to get something in, and I'm hopeful that it'll pan out and turn it. I'm going to tell Cash on camera, but yo, like, it's crazy. It's something I've never done before, and I think it's going to be amazing. But outside of that, if you haven't signed up for Patreon yet, please do so. And there was something else I wanted to tell you.
Sign up for Patreon.
Yeah, man. We're like, young, we're so, like, again, $1 a month, young. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. I ain't asking you to do more than that. Just do $1 a month. And, like, if 24 of y'all do that, right, before the week is out, literally, we do this as a podcast so that way y'all can get even more of this stuff. Hey, Hoopaloo, that's something that's potentially possible. I'm supposed to do this Detroit gig in October/November, and my hope is to turn that into a tour because I might do Chicago after that. So it's possible. It depends on where in Canada if you are. If you're near the Midwest, then possibly. If not, I'm sorry. Quick shout out to T. Lucas. Hopefully we'll get him in here as a guest real soon. Definitely. Shout out to my man Earley Baird, who will be a guest on the show September 8th. Yeah, September 8th. All right. And yeah, man, on that note, hey, Cloud Kick 85, yes, we will do a prize. So look, this is what we're going to do. This is what I got. I have like bargain bin merch. What that means is I have merchandise that is still brand new, but like the edges like have been damaged, or like if it's in a jewel case, it's been cracked. And so I do have items like that. So those of you, after this video is over, if you leave a comment, definitely, all of y'all who leave a comment on the video after this, not in the chat, but on the video afterwards, and share the video link and you're a subscriber, I'll put your name in a joint, little drawing, and next week we'll pick the winner.
Sound good.
You know what I mean? And I'll give you 2 items from the bargain joint. You know what I mean? Could be vinyl, could be a cassette, could be anything. But we gotta go, son. The music's over, Pete.
Good show.
You know what I'm saying?
Good show. Thanks, man. Everybody. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Oh, Soul King, to answer your question, I saw y'all asking blank questions when I was being, like, super serious. Yo, like, my favorites on Street Fighter was Chun-Li. Of course, Ryu's the dude as well. Yeah, those are like my main ones I played with was Chun-Li and Ryu. You know what I mean? But I was super nice with Blanca too. It didn't matter back in the day. I ain't as nice as I used to be. Back in the day, it ain't matter. You get it with anybody. You holler, get them hands. You know what I'm saying? Get them hands with anybody. It ain't matter. But yo, we gotta break out. You know what I mean?
Hey, Mugen, I don't know if you answering that before we go.
What Mugen say?
She's talking about Homie Han, the battler. Yeah, we'll talk about that next week.
I ain't check it. I gotta check it.
We'll talk about that next week.
Yeah, I got you though.
Peace, man.
Yo, we gotta go.
Show. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, seriously, man. We had a great time with y'all tonight.
It's fun tonight.
All right. Peace.